This time on Captain Castle's Laboratory, we're going to be working on an Apartment 56 piece. I have no idea what it's called. I really don't. It came wrapped in bubble wrap. Just like, well, this with the characters. And there's one spring. This spring's wrapped around the plastic knob. There we go. But I'm assuming they jump up and down and their ropes are broken. So, if you know what this piece is, let me know and I'll put it in the title because I truly don't. But it's got a solid plastic bottom, which is the older style. Here's the power adapter, and if you have this piece or you're needing to replace it, it's a 12 volt AC adapter. Oh wait, it should say the name on this. Here we go. Open, stickers folded. Cross Products Halloween Animated Haunted Wall. Oh, okay. So we'll start over. This time on the RandomJChannel, we're going to be working on the animated haunted wall from Apartment 56 that the characters apparently are broken. We're going to see if this is going to be repairable. I'm hoping it is, only because the strings are frayed and I have no idea how they got them up inside here. I'm assuming this plastic piece is glued in to the resin monsters, or monster and ghost. And I don't know. Also need to see what these are attached to underneath. Now when I press on them, I can see the bottom flex. Like so. I can see that it's cracked, like someone's trying to open it, which is possible, or just cracked from failure. But anyhow, let's see what it's going to take to try and make this one work. I'm going to see if I can get the glue to start breaking with just a semi-dull razor scraper. Because this plastic usually melts before the resin that holds it on does. But it looks like we're going to have to apply heat. So, move all the pieces out of the way so I don't knock them into the abyss of under the bench. We'll see if we can get it just warm enough to get it to start separating. Now it's hot. Wouldn't recommend pointing at your finger, trust me. It's just wasn't at the temperature yet. Now I see the plastic warping, but it's not separating the glue. This is what I don't like about these old ones, is the older pieces were definitely designed never to be repaired. They had this white plastic base. Technically the newer ones aren't either, but now they don't use this thin plastic anymore. So all I'm doing is heating up the plastic till it starts to warp. That's when I know it's hot enough I can hopefully separate it from the glue. You can use a spudger. Like I said, I'm just using a semi-dull razor scraper, just because it's got a finer point to try and grab under the plastic. The reason I say semi-dull is because if it was super sharp, I'd just slice right through the plastic and, well, that would defeat what I'm doing. If you don't have a semi-dull one, you can dull it by smacking it on something hard or sandpaper. Or you can just use a spudger. This is a resin piece while we're doing this. Just so you know, it's not porcelain. It appears to be all resin and plastic. Characters are resin with a plastic insert, and this bottom is plastic glued to resin. If you have just a 2-speed heat gun, do this on low. Don't do it on high. If you have an adjustable temperature, mine's at 200 degrees Celsius. There we go. Because mine's adjustable. Alright, so here's the bottom. We have a 12 volt, 10-12 RPM, 4 watt CW, CCW motor. Means counterclockwise and clockwise. It is got screws, but it's not attached. So the screws hold the motor and gearbox together, but the resin glue that they use to hold this in has separated. And I've mentioned this a few times, and we don't see it very often. Here is 2 wires held together with glue. So when I use heat shrink and I say you can use glue, and I say the manufacturers did it, there you go. Manufacturer did it. Don't see it very often anymore. They use wire nuts and stuff, but these old pieces, and some of the new ones, sporadically, they actually use glue to stop the wires from arcing. There's the other one that's glued together. No insulation, no heat shrink, no nothing. Alright, so I'm going to pull that forward. So this won't come out because of those plastic pieces. There's some of the glue that's holding it in place. So these, there's more of the glue. That's all of it. Yeah, that's all of it. You can tell how a flanged. They're flanged, they won't go through. Hey, more glue. Anything else want to fall out? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 4 screws off that hold the motor housing. Ooh. Too small. Bigger screwdriver. I know this motor, based on the numbers on the bottom, is still available. I don't know what the top looks like because there's 16 different types of output shafts on motors. But the 1012 is a common motor. More expensive because it's not used in small things for the most part like this. But if you got something that was a different speed, it would just be slower or faster, because they do make them faster than 1012 RPM. They also make them like 1620, things like that. Alright. Separation. Ew. Well, this is going to be a treat. Okay. Here we go. So there's the bottom. You have a brass pulley on either end, which I'm assuming those brass pulleys are connected to these white housings. And then we got lots of the greenish colors from the string breaking down and reacting with the lubricant. Here's the top where the string has shredded. It's also covered in grease. And there's our motor with an eccentric on it. Alright. So, you see how this works, and we'll see if we can get it back together. Because this is going to be, it's going to be fidgety, fine. You're going to need to, have somewhat hand dexterity. So if you're having a bad hand day, don't do it. First I'm going to do is get the lubrication off of here because it's sticky. It's no longer lubrication. It's absorbed enough dirt and grease and dirt into the grease from its age that it's now kind of like a glue consistency, but I use isopropyl alcohol. I use 99%. I used to just have it in that big jug, but now I just take the big jug and refill a small spray bottle. It's a lot more manageable. Well, let's get all this cleaned off. So, how this, ooh, I should probably definitely clean in here too. So how this works is this bar, we'll just call it a bar because it kind of looks like a piece of like a chocolate bar, but it's a bar. It has an oval shape in the bottom of it, there. That oval shape does is it spins on this eccentric, which is right here. So there's this front of the motor, and this piece spins oblong, causing the bar to move back and forth, which that bar has the strings tied through. They go up through these holes underneath these brass pulleys, and they then go up to the characters through the stems, which then the characters are sitting on springs, so they can move up and down. The spring pushes them up and the motor pulls them down. That's basically what it's doing. Pulleys roll nice. There's no binding or debris in the axle holes. That's good. Just getting some of the fine verdigris or discoloration out. They're still brass colored, which is nice because usually brass turns blue with age and moisture. I'm assuming the motor works. I don't know, but we're going to test it. I'm going to plug it in. But this is the boring part. You got to clean everything and get everything prepped, because we're going to re-lubricate this, and we don't want any of this old lubrication. Might as well get rid of the bad string. And this is real string. It's not nylon. It feels like cotton. I'm probably going to use nylon. It has a little bit stronger tensile strength. This is technically the first video of the new year. The video that came up on January 1 was a video that we got lost in our archives, and we just set it to start on Jan 1 just to have something come out on New Year's. So it's I think the 12th today. So this will be up probably around the 20th. Just delay with stuff. If I can get it fixed. Because this part's all easy, is getting inside those characters. So there we go. We got the holes cleaned out. I used the wood stick to kind of help a little bit. And I'll show you. So there's the hole. Right there. So the twine or rope feeds in, lays flush in this track, and then you tie a knot right here on both sides. So it's cleaned out. You see the tracks are cleaned out. The holes are now, nice and clean. I can see through them. Got rid of all the debris from those. This is all clean. Remember, if you have this piece and you do this, you need to re-lubricate it. Use PTFE grease. Let's put the base oil here. Non-silicone based grease. That way you don't ruin it. Just make sure the motor works. So, plug her in and plug her in. this does is this would sit like this. I'm holding it because it's not in this track up here. So it would move back and forth like so. What that does is it pulls one down, the other one lifts, and vice versa. Because if you don't have the track, it just kind of moves around. Doesn't do anything particular. So there you go. That's how it works. Give you a little visual representation. Presentation. So this grease, like I said, is like putty. It's just nasty. We'll throw away the string. I don't need it. All right, so bottom piece is as good as we can get it. Let's see about these. Looking to see if the resin glue is weak enough to pop these out. If I can get any motion on them. I'm getting motion on this one. It's moving. There we go. Now this one only had a little bead of glue down one side, not all the way around. I wonder if this one's the same. Yep, twist it and I broke it free immediately. And there's the other end of that string. This one, the glue is at the top, and it's not quite a resin glue. It feels more of a like an Elmer's glue, if that makes sense. You get that little skin. Like if you put Elmer's glue on your fingers and let it dry, you can peel it off like peeling off dead skin. That's kind of the consistency or the feel of it. I'm going to use hot glue when I reassemble it. I don't know what kind of glue they use. I mean, I could use Elmer's. I got some. I don't know how good that's going to last. I'm just using a screwdriver to clean out the residue of the glue from the hole. There's glue residue in here. I just want a nice clean surface. You can hit it with alcohol too, but it seems to be coming right out. Just except for this one where there's one. There we go. One small piece. This one's good. All right. Yeah, see how it looks like hot glue, but it feels like not super glue. I would not super glue these in. You'll never be able to fix this if you do. And there we go. Yeah. So this, like I said, it feels like cotton string. I don't see any reinforcement in it. Like some cotton strings might have a piece of nylon or metal on the inside. It's just this 4 braid string. And then there's a glue cap. So they made a small knot and put a cap of glue on it. These mushroom caps, so it's just glue. This glue feels like super glue. Or not super glue, hot glue. But anyway, if you have these, you can frame them out and make it look like little octopi. But other than that, it's useless stuff. So, when I did the Jemmy singer, Frank Sinatra, I also did James Brown, but I didn't film it because of copyright violations, because apparently you can't fix those on camera and you get copyrighted because of the music they play and their likeness. I'm like, that's funny. I'm just fixing stuff. I'm not you know, making millions of dollars and stealing their product. I'm just fixing something. But hey, it is what it is. Anyhow, they used a twine They use basically, I guess it's called jewelry string for bead making. It's really strong stuff. Like, whoops, hey, rope burn. I don't know how long this is supposed to be. That's going to be the problem. I do not know how long these strings are supposed to be. This is a piece that I cut too long when I was doing the 2 jemmies, and here's a section I left. I'll probably start with that one and then cut whatever I need off of that. But jewelry string. I was looking for a thin nylon, high tensile strength string, and I think this was like $12 or $13 for this roll, and it's something like 50 yards or 100 meters. Yeah, it's freaking long. Probably never used the whole thing. I never thought I'd use it after those jemmies, but apparently using it here. Yeah. There's a piece of rope or debris inside here. Let's get that out. There we go. So it has a really small hole in the top, so I'm going to feed it backwards through it, because feeding it up into the small hole is probably going to be really hard to do. Probably should have tied a knot in this first. So this is where the fidgety part comes in, where if you have hand issues, you might have a problem. There we go. So I'm going to double knot it like that, and that should stay inside, did not fall through the hole. Yep, won't fall through. Now, normally when you cut this stuff, you should burn it, kind of like you do with a rope, to stop it from fraying. But because this is going to have glue on the top of it, I'm not going to light it on fire because the glue will hold it. But I'm going to glue it and shove her back in. I'm hoping that's enough string. It's always better to be too long than too short, because you'd have to redo it if you're too short. If you're too long, you just cut it off. And I don't know why I was using cutters when I literally have scissors right here. That one's nice and clean. I should do the knot first. So if you're still watching and not bored of how long this is taking to do this, because it's a really intricate project. How's everybody's New Year's so far? So far mine's better than last year, because 4 days into the new year last year I got rear-ended at 60 miles an hour. I was at a dead stop. That was fun. So this year, I said we're day 12 now, and I haven't been rear-ended, so I feel pretty good. But for my job, I drive on average around 70,000 miles a year, so I get in more car accidents than the average person because of how much I'm on the road. Some of them are just stupid accidents, and somebody's in a parking lot and they misjudge the turn while I'm sitting in the vehicle and they clip the bumper. And it's happened several times. Or they hit the tow hitch. But nothing really major. Light turns, red, and I stop, and the guy behind me is on his phone and rolls into me. And that's happened dozens of times. Yeah. Now these are 2 different lengths. So the short one came from the zombie, or I guess it's a zombie. Kind of like Frankenstein-ish, because his head's got stitches and he's got like a bolt sticking out of it. I don't know. But the dude has the short one and the Ghost has the long one. They also have two different bases on them, which I think is kind of strange because the plungers are basically the same except one is longer, one is shorter. But for the base, there's no discernible difference on the parts inside the bottom. Once that gets hot, we can continue. So. Had this for a couple years and it's starting to take longer and longer to get hot, so I think the heater inside is starting to burn out. It's fine. It's a cheap $13 one from Amazon. But New Year's was fun. Got to light off fireworks, and if you're allowed to do that in your areas. Luckily, where I'm at, you can. It's funny, we live in one of the hottest states in, well, the hottest state in the U.S. on average, and we can light off fireworks. And in states that have some prohibitions on fireworks, seem to be burning down right now. But there was some issues in the area. The house at the end of my street caught fire, just part of it, tree and part of the roof, from a failed firework, lit the tree on fire. And then neighbor's house forgot to snuff their fireworks out with water and lit his trailer on fire. Put that out with the fire extinguisher, though. I saw it happen. I was doing that good neighbor thing. But other than that, pretty good. I'm not only going to use the glue to hold the strap, but the slightly larger ball of glue. The glue will stick on the inside, plus it runs over, so it kind of runs down the side as you shove it in. So I'm killing two birds with one stone by, instead of putting a little bead of glue on the side, then you get a little ooze that comes out that you can scrape off. You can either let it dry and chip it off, or just scrape it off while it's still hot. There we go. Now comes the part that, well, I've never done it, and we're going to do it together. Don't forget your springs. So, springs should be the same height. Yep, same spring. Fat part of the spring goes on the bottom, since it's the way it came out. And the narrow part of the spring should catch on this lip. Yep, narrow part of the spring catches the lip, so I just wanted to verify. I'm also going to slide the spring up, so it makes it easier for me to slide the string through. Pretty good. Now let's do the next one. So there's that one. Drop it on. Push the ring all the way up so it stays on the plastic base of the character. Then slide the string through. And bam. That one came through a lot easier. Didn't need tweezers to help force it. And then pull it down. Yep, slides good on the shaft. So there we go on the bottom. The two strings are hanging out right next to the brass pulleys. And we have this. Now, this is where I'm going to have to guesstimate or guess how much string I need for each one of these characters. Also, I need to make sure I'm putting them in the right, so I need to put it this way. you're good at thread and needles, you might be good at this. So you gotta thread it through so many holes, apparently. Come on. There you go. Alright, so that one's in. What I'm going to do, because I know I'm going to pull this right back through, because I'm going to be working on the other one and not paying any attention. I'm going to put a piece of tape on it, just to hold her in place for me. So when I lift it up, like that, it doesn't hopefully pull the string through. Here we go. So this goes in this way, just so you know. I'm doing it this way so I can feed it through. Now, what I'm going to do is I just pulled it out from under the tape. Get the tape out of here so it's not in my way. I'm going to turn it over. I'm just going to set this in the base. I'm going to try and pull some of the slack. Try is the key word. Get these characters onto their stems. There we go. Like that. It's really hard to show you on camera because I can barely see with my own eyeballs. Okay, there's the track. I just have to do one at a time. I'm trying to pull both, but that's not working so well for me. I think I need to tie it off right about here. So now comes the fun part, tying it off. Now I'm assuming the reason there's this big groove right there, see the big hole? So I can slide the plastic piece in, like so. Stay, thank you. I'm about to lose the other character. Hold on 1 second, I'll show what I'm talking about. Like I said, fidgety. I can put it in here, like that, push it all the way to the side, and that appears to be about how much string I need. And then I push it to the other side and do it the other direction, because when I was doing it flat, that's where she was lining up at on me for the string. So, that's a baseline, you know, it's a start. Now comes the fun part of trying to tie a knot all the way down there while fighting with the shape, because doing it inside, and every time I move it, I got an anchor attached to it, you know, the motor. And my dexterity isn't as good as it used to be. That's the reason I'm using some tweezers to help guide me. Okay, and I'm going to put a single slip knot in it, so if it's wrong I can take it back apart before I make it permanent. Now let's slide this one over. Please tell me they're still on. That one's on. That one's not. There we go. this one's good. That one, there's still too much slack in it. That's why I want to do a single knot. This is going to be trial and error. Probably a lot more error. Also doesn't help that the bottom plate has been separated from its resin or glue, so I got so many things moving at the same time. But I don't want to glue the bottom plate on because that does allow me a little more play until I can get this taken care of. Having movement is good. In some cases it's bad. Stupid string just got caught. Alright. Alright, I gotta take the knots out because it's bound up. I might, because now the string is caught badly and I can't get it to come undone like it's supposed to with a single knot. I might have to cut it and redo this one. Oh wait, did I get it? Here we go. I think I got it. Yeah. Well, if this keeps taking as long as it is, I'm probably just going to pause the video and redo this entire string because it does not want to come back out. See if I can do it now. Alright, part of my problem is the spring jumped over the base, so I might actually have to glue this thing down. There we go. Because the movement is helping me, it's also hindering at the same time. I think if I glue it, I can at least get the hindering gone and maybe get this back together. Yeah, I'm gonna have to glue it. So, what's happening with the one, I don't know why I didn't do the other, it's probably just luck, is the coil spring is going under the base when it lifts up, and then when I try and pull it in, the spring is getting caught under this flat flange. So that's causing me a lot of problems on this guy. This guy didn't do it, and it might be because this now is under tension and this one's not. And now I'm fighting, because when I'm pulling this guy down. Again, when it goes left, it pulls him down. When it goes right, it pulls him down. That's the point of the eccentric. So it's fighting now because it's now I have tension on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the hot glue gun. I'm just going to pause the video while this thing heats up for the next couple of minutes. And then I want to adhere this inner base until it doesn't move anymore. And then continue. Hopefully I'll also get the string fixed. If I get the string fixed, I'll start right where I get the string fixed like I did on this guy. Then I can show you what it looks like. And we can do a test run, and if it works, I could disassemble it, but we can disassemble it and glue the string into the eccentric plate, glue the wires back in to their respective spots so they don't touch each other, and of course they don't flop around and get caught in the moving parts. And hopefully they'll be back together and ready to go back, because this is the last piece I needed to fix of a whole box full. The other ones you probably saw last year in some of the Halloween repairs from the same person. So anyway, I'm going to pause it for a few, and I'm going to get this glued and make sure that this dries all the way or cools down to where the base doesn't move, and then I'll continue. So I'll be back in a few moments, and we'll get this thing finished up. Okay, I'm back. Alright, this was quite a pain. I figured out the easiest way to do it. I tried taping the characters down, didn't work. But what you want to do is have one all the way down, move this slider all the way to the right, and then tie a knot. So I cut a piece of sound deadening foam. It's also used in gun cases and insulation that you get on Amazon. It's open cell. I cut a wedge, push the character down, and then wedge the foam under so I could tie the string. What that does is it allows them to go to the maximum extension without falling off of the stems. You can see the knots. This slot that's in here works good for holding it, two, it's so the ropes don't rub or the strings, and they don't rub and cut. So now I'm going to cut off some of this extra, because both these have a high knot and a low knot. I'm just going to cut above the high knot, which should stop them from fraying. I should have heated that up beforehand. But if we pull this and then tip it into its place, so it sits like this. If I do this back and forth, I can see both pulleys moving, and you can see two characters going up and down. So that oval, twofold. It's to keep the ropes from rubbing and getting cut, and it also helps for centering this. You can see how much glue I had to fill in to get this to stay. And yes, if yours is broke free, push it in. What I did is I pushed the two stems down, put a dab of glue on them, let it cure, cool. And then I started filling in the gaps on both sides, because you won't get your alignment right for the strings as far as the length goes. You can use any type of foam or maybe some fabric. This didn't work. These springs are so hard, it was literally peeling the tape off the stone. I didn't want to use a very strong tape because I didn't want to damage the texture of the stone. It's a very nice paint job, and it's shiny, so I didn't want to pull any of the gloss coating off. I thought about using rubber bands, which would work, but then they're in the way of what you're doing. So, foam wedge. You can probably make it out of foam, fabric. I wouldn't use wood. You have a chance of ruining the texture again and possibly snapping the character because there's no give. You want something that's soft but sturdy, and this open cell foam works pretty good. And you can find a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff you buy comes with this as padding now, especially if it's like a watch and it's cut out. It uses open cell stuff, but whatever works. So this is heating up so I can glue the strings. So now I'm going to grab a tube of lithium, white PTFE. So I get mine from these little tubes from Suntronics, right there. And excuse me. And I usually buy 5 at a time, so they come in a little case. I just keep the case so I don't lose them, because I have a tendency of losing them. But it's white PTFE grease. This one's open, it's about half used, so I want to get a second one ready just in case, because you have to lube the top where we're going to put some glue so it slides, the edges so it slides, the inside so it spins on here, and this slips. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the edge here because that disc is really close and I don't want it to rub, because there's grease everywhere when we took it apart. So this isn't the easiest piece to work on. It's not the hardest. Skill level is moderate, and it's mostly how you can do your hands for those strings. That's the fun part. Gluing it in, because I layered the glue and how to let it cool, that took probably 30 minutes or more. So I was just watching YouTube while I was waiting for it to cool enough to put the next layer on. So I mean, the overall process, we're at like 15 minutes on the camera, but I'm probably in about 2 or 3 hours just for the fact of the layering. I'm going to move this disc. That way it's not here, and I can put a, well, I'm waiting for that to get hot. I'm just going to put a thin edge right here, and I'll just use the plastic to, and that's just in case it rubs. There is a very small gap, but once it's pushed in and screwed down, I don't know if if the plastic deflects and then touches. So a little bit just to be safe. And I'm going to go ahead and put some on the base away from the string so I can start that. You can just leave it as a bead and let the motion smooth it out. But sometimes when you do that, you get a big clump on one end. So I'm just going to smooth it a little bit with the hard plastic. You can use your finger or a paintbrush. Doesn't matter. It's not toxic to you unless you ingest it. It's not toxic to get on your fingers. And I'm going to put a dab of glue on these knots like they had before. Like so. There we go. Now I'm doing the flat tracks while I'm letting the glue cool down so I don't accidentally get glue onto the flat surface and then glue this into one position. This tube is just about empty. I haven't even glued the underside yet. Or lubed the underside, not glued. Don't want to glue it. You can get these in containers from your hardware store, but when I order from Suntronics, it's just, I order motors for a lot of the Department 56 and Mr. Christmas when I can't find them anywhere else, as an example, and I always throw in a 5-pack. It's the same lube that you use on Department 56, Mr. Christmas, and Limax. That stuff that gets into the motors and occasionally shorts them out. You might just think I'm playing with it. What I'm doing is actually getting the lubrication, and you can kind of, maybe with the glare, you can see it's only smearing it on the outer edges. It's not smearing the center because it's got a little bow to it. But you want to do the whole thing because, again, when it's screwed together, it may touch. So you'd rather have all the surface have lubrication than just part of the surface. And now we're going to put some in the middle here. You could put it on the disc right here because the disc has a hole. I don't want to funnel it, so I'm going to put a thin layer and then get it into the edges. The edges is the important part. The flat surface is great, but it's the edge of the circle that pushes on the edge of the oval eccentric to make the characters move. That's where the most friction is. That's where you need the lubrication. I still put it on the face because I'm sure part of this may rub because there is a little wear, and it's probably this metal screw because it's slightly taller than the plastic disc. Now you need to, now comes the fun part. Now you have to line up the disc with the eccentric. You can try and hold the eccentric out of the way, or I'm just going to spin the motor till the disc lines up, which is right there. Like so. Now put the screws back in, and we'll take care of the wires. So this is something that you can do at home. Just be aware that you need to have a little dexterity. Kind of important because of the string and how small it is. I'm wearing magnifiers. That helps a lot, especially since the string I got is white and the plastic is white, so it kind of blends in. You can always buy a different color string. It's not like you see it. You can get like pink or blue. It came in colors. White was just the cheapest because it's probably the most commonly purchased. But you can get it in colors so you have contrast because you don't see the string. The string is inside of a nylon tube, so it's not like you see it. So the screws aren't super tight. I just have them in snug because I want to make sure that it's even. There we go. It hadn't seated yet. So now, so there's our characters. I think they're going up and down like they're supposed to. And that guy seems a little weak. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. So now I need to tighten these down. Next, we'll pull this back through. There we go. And now we're going to hot glue these two wires like they had off, one over here, one over here. So one, they don't interfere with the moving part inside, and two, if the glue ever falls off, they don't touch each other because those are power wires. This motor being a 12 volt AC motor, well, I'm waiting for that to reheat again. It's the model number is AM12. You may not be able to find it by that model number, although because it's Anna Yi or An Yi, ANNYIH. I can't find those online unless I try and get them from China directly, and they usually have like a minimum order of 1,000. Not doing that. But you can find similar. You just need to find a 12 volt, approximately 4 watt, 10 to 12 RPM approximate CCW or CW. It just means that when you turn it off, it reverses direction. So it doesn't matter. You just see the up and down motion, but it means it spins this way, and then it spins this way, and then it spins that way. It goes back and forth. And then the shaft is a short shaft with a screw in the middle. And so they have a whole bunch of different outputs. So it's not hard to find. You just may not find the OEM on you. There we go. I love hot glue, but I hate the strings. Strings annoy me. There we go. Let that cool for a second. So I will see if I can find this stuff online. I'll check my history and I'll put a link to it. Like I said, you don't have to buy the white. It's just jewelry string. Heck, you don't have to buy it from Amazon. You can probably get it at your local hobby store. Like Michael's has a bead section to make bead jewelry. It's basically what this is. I wouldn't use the cotton stuff just because it has a shorter lifespan and it breaks down more than the nylon. And the tensile strength of the nylon is much stronger. So if you made this too tight, the nylon will stretch a little and not snap, while the cotton fiber will, right where it bends to go around the pulley, will wear itself through and snap. So, and let's put a thin bead of glue around the edge. Now I'm doing a very thin bead just in case it ever needs to be opened back up, because I'm sure the strings eventually will break again depending on usage, and motors don't last forever. We'll let that sit. Probably my thin bead was too thin. Do it again. I'll just do half and half. I'll do half, and then I'll stick on the other half once this side sticks. So that takes care of the haunted wall. I already forgot what it was called again. But there we go. Okay, yeah, animated haunted wall. So I was right. So that'll do it. All it took was string and a lot of time and patience. So if you have this piece, remove the bottom. You can use a little heat, break it free, or you can just cut it off if you want. It's up to you. And then take the screws out. If your plastic housing is broke free, try and realign it and glue it back in, so that way it is a little more stable for pulling the strings through. And then adjust your string length based on that plate in the oval hole. Make some sort of wedge, and then when you push one character down, move it all the way to the opposite side for tying, because that would be how far it travels up and down so it doesn't fall off the shaft. Other than that, that takes care of this one. So, till the next one, thanks for watching.